Alright, folks, so finally I have got this book, Can't Hurt Me. And the book is written by David Goggins. And David Goggins is the kind of guy who is known for pushing himself mentally and physically beyond the normal human potential. And he's a very fascinating guy. And he knows how to tame your mind so that you can do when you can do more when you feel like quitting. So we will read this book and we will try to find out what kind of lessons and what kind of tricks we can learn from this book so that we can also push ourselves mentally and physically. So this is the picture of David Goggins when he was just 6 years old.
Two.
One thing David Goggins talks about in his book is about running. He says that the more you run, the more mentally strong you become. These dogs are very, very dangerous in the morning. Alright, folks, so what I feel that when you read about David Goggins, you feel this kind of energy, you feel excitement. As per David Goggins, you cannot live your life being a boring person. You should always be high on life. Alright, it's time for 1 million pull-ups. 1 million push-ups. Jump rope. Jokes apart, what I feel that when you try to live life in this way, like with more energy and with more enthusiasm, there is something about it. Like all those trivial things that seemed so boring, suddenly they become very interesting. Like normal things, you start enjoying those things because of this unknown energy. And that's why David Goggins says, always talk to your brain and talk with energy. So what I feel that when I live with this enthusiasm, I feel more motivated and I am able to push myself forward.
This person, I usually train alone. This person wanted to run with me. And I said, fine, we'll run 15. This morning comes, there's storms coming in this way, and the person calls and said, hey, why don't we do it tomorrow? Taking souls is when I told the motherfucker, I'm gonna run 15 today, and I'll run with you again tomorrow. That's what taking souls is about. Don't worry about the elements and what's going on. He wasn't the only one that thought about taking the day off, because the storm is coming in right now, and there's not a soul out here but me. If you want to get better, do the shit that no one else wants to do.
So finally, I finished this book, and this book is basically the autobiography of David Goggins, and the book has total 11 chapters, and each chapter represents his unique phase of life. In first 2 chapters, he talks about his terrible childhood, like having an abusive father, facing racism in school, and seeing his stepdad getting killed when he almost had a hope. And then after 2 chapters, he talks about how he loses more than 100 pounds within 3 months to join the military. And then he goes on to become a Navy SEAL, where he faces those harsh situations in BUDS, basic underwater demolition training, by calcing his mind. And then he goes through 3 hell weeks and finally becoming a Navy SEAL. And after that, he does many ultra races, and in most of the races he comes in top 5, and he even runs the 100-mile race without even having any preparation. So in that process, what happens that he badly injures his knee, and then later on he finds out that he has a hole in his heart, and then he goes on to break the world record of doing most pull-ups in 24 hours. So this book is basically his journey, his ups and downs through life, and how he conquers those obstacles of life by calcing his mind, applying 40% rule, and taking souls. And after each chapter, there is one challenge, and that challenge is basically the message and the takeaway of that chapter. So now let's dive into top 10 lessons of this book. Lesson 1. Denial is the ultimate comfort zone. David Goggins says that most people do not accept the person that they see in the mirror. They do not accept the reality the way it is. And they live this fake social media life and portraying what they actually aren't. So it is very important that you do the reality check without denying the reality. Once Goggins is invited to MIT to talk about mental toughness. At some point in the discussion, an esteemed MIT professor said that we each have genetic limitations, hard ceilings, and that there are some things we just can't do no matter how mentally tough we are. When we hit our genetic ceilings, he said, mental toughness does not enter into the equation. Everyone in the room seemed to accept his version of reality. David Goggins says, what you said is true for most people, but not 100%. There will always be the 1% of us who are willing to put in the work to defy the odds. Heraclitus, a philosopher born in Persian Empire back in the 5th century BC, had it right when he wrote about men on the battlefield. Out of every 100 men, he wrote, 10 shouldn't even be there, 80 are just targets, 9 are the real fighters, and we are lucky to have them, for they make the battle. But one is the warrior. From the time you take your first breath, you become eligible to die. You also become eligible to find your greatness, become the one warrior. But it is up to you to equip yourself for the battle ahead. Only you can master your mind, which is what it takes to live a bold life filled with accomplishment most people consider beyond their capability. Lesson 2. Very few people know how the bottom feels. So this is very eye-opening line. So what happens most of the time, we look at our lives and we feel that we are the only one suffering. We create this bottom in our head. Goggins says that most of us suffer more in head than reality. We create this bottom in our mind that don't even exist. My bad cards arrived early and stuck around a while. But everyone gets challenged in life at some point. What was your bad hand? What kind of bullshit did you contend with growing up? Were you beaten, abused, bullied? Did you ever feel insecure? Maybe your limiting factor is that you grew up so supported and comfortable you never pushed yourself. What are the current factors limiting your growth and success? Is someone standing in your way at work or school? Are you underappreciated and overlooked for opportunities? What are the long odds you are up against right now? Are you standing in your own way? Break out your journal. If you don't have one, buy one or start one on your laptop, tablet, or in the Notes app on your smartphone and write them all. Don't be bland with this assignment. I showed you every piece of my dirty laundry. If you were hurt or are still in harm's way, tell the story in full. Give your pain shape. Absorb its power because you are about to flip that shit. Number 3. The story of Scott Gear. Now, this is one of the most interesting and inspiring story that David Goggins shares, and this story also changed David Goggins' life. I attended a week-long course during the summer before my freshman year called PJOC, the Para-Rescue Jump Orientation Course. As usual, I was the only. One day, a para-rescue man named Scott Guian came to speak. He had an amazing story to tell. During a standard exercise on a high-altitude jump from 13,000 feet, Guian deployed his suit with another skydiver right above him. That wasn't out of the ordinary. He had the right of the way, and per his training, he had waved off the other jumper. Except the guy did not see him, which placed Guian in the grave danger because the jumper above him was still mid-free fall, hurtling through the air at over 120 miles per hour. He went into a cannonball, hoping to avoid clipping Guian, but it did not work. Guian had no clue what was coming when his teammate flew through his canopy, collapsing it on contact and slammed into Guian's face with his knees. Guian was knocked unconscious instantly and wobbled into another free fall, his crushed suit creating very little drag. The other skydiver was able to deploy his suit and survive with minor injuries. Guian did not really land. He bounced like a flat basketball 3 times, but because he had been unconscious, his body was limp and he did not come apart despite crashing into ground at 100 miles per hour. He died twice on the operating table, but the ER docs brought him back to life. When he woke in the hospital bed, they said he wouldn't make a full recovery and would never be a pararescue man again. 18 months later, he had defied medical odds, made that full recovery, and was back on the job he loved. For years, I was obsessed with the story because he had survived the impossible. Lesson 4. Be hard on yourself. David Goggins says that be hard on yourself and life will be easy on you. He says that if you look in the mirror and you see a fat person, do not say that you need to lose a couple of pounds. Instead, say you are ugly fat. He says that nobody likes to hear the truth. Individually and as a culture, we avoid what we need to hear the most. You are stopping you. You are giving up instead of getting hard. Tell the truth about the real reasons of your limitations and you will turn the negativity, which is real, into a jet fuel. Those odds stacked against you will become a damn runway. There is no more time to waste. Hours and days evaporate like creeks in the desert. That's why it's okay to be cruel on yourself, as long as you realize you are doing it to become better. We all need thicker skin to improve in life. Being soft when you look in the mirror is not going to inspire the wholesale changes. We need to shift our present and open up our future. Lesson 5. Living with a purpose changes everything. I feel that this is one of the most important lessons of this book. Because when you don't have a purpose, like you keep on wasting your time on those meaningless things. But when you have purpose, when you have a reason to wake up in the morning, that drives you. And then you don't have time to waste on those trivial things. So David Goggins says that set a goal. And once you achieve that goal, set a bigger goal. And that is the only way to move forward in life. Living with a purpose changed everything for me. During my senior year in high school, studying and working out gave my mind so much energy that hate flaked from my soul like used up snake skin. The resentment I held toward the racist in Brazil, the emotion that had dominated me and was burning me up inside, dissipated. I looked at the people who were making me feel uncomfortable and realized how uncomfortable they were in their own skin. Lesson 6. Callous your mind. David Goggins says that you need to callous your mind. You need to make it mentally tough. And only way to make it mentally tough by doing something that you fear. And when you do the things that you fear the most, gradually your mind becomes strong. Because he says the best way to conquer the fear is to face the fear. That means digging down into the micro level, doing something that sucks every day. Even if it is as simple as making your bed, doing the dishes, ironing your clothes, or getting up before dawn and running 2 miles each day. Once that becomes comfortable, take it to 5, then 10 miles. Doing things, even small things, that make you uncomfortable will help make you strong. Lesson 7. Taking souls. This is a very unique technique that David Goggins talks about in the book. So during the births, his instructors were putting him in a very, very bad situation, very harsh condition. And they wanted him to quit, but Goggins saw them as his enemy, and his job was not to twitch and become more strong. And that, instead of breaking him, mentally broke the instructors, because they saw this guy who was doing amazing in those harsh conditions. So David Goggins says that find your enemy and take their soul. I turned to Brown. You know why I call you freak? I asked. He looked over as we lowered the boat. Then he lifted it up overhead like creaky robots on reserve battery power. Because you are one of the baddest men I've ever seen in my damn life. Within seconds, my whole team had life. We did not just lift the boat overhead and set it down hard. We threw it up, caught it overhead, tapped the sand with it, and threw it up high again. The results were immediate and undeniable. Our pain and exhaustion faded. Each repetition made us stronger and faster, and each time we threw the boat up, we all chanted, "You cannot hurt. Boat crew too." Lesson number 8. The 40% rule. David Goggins says that most people quit around 40% of their true potential, and there is still 60% untapped energy reserve that can only be accessed through your mental toughness. Let me give you an example. Let's assume that you can do 20 pull-ups and you feel that after 20 pull-ups, like you quit. But after that, the number of pull-ups you do, that decides how mentally tough you are. And doing more when everyone quits separates a winner from a loser. Never forget that all the emotional and physical anguish is finite. It all ends eventually. Smile at the pain and watch it fade at least for a second or two. If you can do that, you can string those seconds together and last longer than your opponent thinks you can. And that may be enough to catch a second wind. There is no scientific consensus on second wind. Some scientists think it's the result of endorphins flooding your nervous system. Others think it's a burst of oxygen that can help break down lactic acid, as well as the glycogen and triglycerides muscles need to perform. Some say it's purely psychological. All I know is that by going hard when we feel defeated, we were able to ride a second wind through the worst night in hell week. Once you have that second wind behind you, it's easy to break your opponent down and snatch a soul. Ticket to victory often comes down to bringing your very best when you feel your worst. Lesson number 9. Uncommon among uncommon. Try to surround yourself with great people, because when you have people with high energy, they try to bring greatness out of you. A lot of people think that once they reach a certain level of status, respect, or success that they have made in life, I am here to tell you that you always have to find more. Greatness is not something that if you meet it once, it stays with you forever. That it evaporates like a flash of oil in a hot pan. Lesson number 10. Life is suffering. Let me read this paragraph for you. The Buddha famously said that life is suffering. I am not a Buddhist, but I know what I meant, and so do you. To exist in this world, we must contend with humiliation, broken dreams, sadness, and loss. That is just nature. Each specific life comes with its own personalized portion of pain. It is coming for you. You cannot stop it, and you know it.
Well, there's purity in physical pursuits, right? Because it doesn't matter what your social status is. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. When it comes down to how long can you stay in that pool, when it comes down to how far can you run, when it comes down to how much can you push yourself past the part where you want to quit, how far can you keep going? There's a purity in that it dissolves social order, all that bullshit, what people think about you goes out the window. It's who are you right now?
That's right.
Who are you right now?